The voice from the portal lingered, its deep, resonant tone echoing in the chamber long after it had gone silent. Benjamin and Samoa stood frozen, their breaths heavy, their minds racing to comprehend what had just happened. "What does it mean?" Samoa whispered, his voice barely audible. "The ethereal key is only the beginning. What else is there?" Benjamin's eyes were locked on the portal, which now pulsed with an ominous energy. He didn't have an answer, but he knew one thing for sure: they were now entangled in something far bigger than themselves. The book, still in his hands, paused faintly. Benjamin opened it once more, flipping through its pages. New symbols and text began to appear, as if the book itself was alive and adapting to the situation. His eyes scanned the words, and his stomach tightened. "It's a warning," Benjamin said, his voice grave. This key is connected to something called the veil. It's what keeps our world and the shadow realm apart. If the veil falls, they'll be free to cross over." Samuel's face turned pale. "You mean, all those things we've been fighting? There could be more of them. Like an army?" Benjamin nodded. "And worse." The voice said, "This is just the beginning. I think whoever, or whatever, is behind this wants to tear the veil down completely." Samuel took a shaky step back, his eyes darting around the chamber. "We can't do this alone, Benjamin. We are just kids. How are we supposed to stop something like that?" Benjamin clenched his fist, his mind racing. "I don't know," he admitted. "But if we don't try, no one else will." The rumbling beneath the pedestal grew louder, and cracks began to spread across the floor. The portal's glow intensified, casting long, flickering shadows against the chamber walls. "We need to get out of here," Samoa shouted, tugging at Benjamin's arm. Reluctantly, Benjamin closed the book and followed Samoa. The two boys ran toward the chamber's exit, the ground shaking violently beneath their feet. Stone pillars crumbled around them, and the air was thick with dust and debris. As they reached the archway leading out, a deafening roar erupted from the portal. Benjamin turned back just in time to see a massive shadowy figure emerging from its depths. The creature was unlike any they'd seen before, towering, with multiple glowing eyes and jagged, smoke-like tendrils extending from its body. "Run!" Benjamin yelled, pushing Samoa forward. The boys sprinted through the winding tunnels, the sound of the creature's pursuit echoing behind them. The walls shook, chunks of stone falling dangerously close. The book in Benjamin's hands glowed brighter, as if urging him onward. Finally, they burst out of the underground chamber and into the open night air. The cemetery was eerily quiet, the moon casting an ethereal glow over the gravestones. But the silence was short-lived. The ground beneath the cemetery began to crack and split, and the portal's glow erupted into the night sky. The massive shadowy creature emerged, its form blotting out the stars. Its eyes scanned the area, locking onto the boys. Samoa gasped. "It followed us." Benjamin's mind raced. "We can't fight it, not like this. We need to find help." "But who would believe us?" Samoa asked, panic in his voice. "No one even knows this thing exists." Before Benjamin could answer, the shadow creature let out a bone-chilling roar and surged toward them. The boys ran, weaving between gravestones and crumbling mausoleums. The creature's tendrils lashed out, shattering stone and uprooting trees. As they reached the far end of the cemetery, a blinding light suddenly erupted in front of them. Benjamin and Samoa skidded to a halt, shielding their eyes. Out of the light stepped a figure, a tall, cloaked individual holding a staff that shimmered with golden energy. The figure raised the staff, and a barrier of light formed between the boys and the advancing creature. The shadow roared, recoiling from the light. The cloaked figure turned to the boys, their voice calm yet commanding. "You two have something that does not belong to you." Benjamin tightened his grip on the book. "Who are you?" The figure lowered their hood, revealing a woman with piercing green eyes and a face marked with ancient runes. "I am a guardian of the veil," she said. "And that book you carry is a relic of immense power, one that should never have fallen into mortal hands." Samoa stepped forward, his expression defiant despite his fear. "We didn't ask for this. The shadows came after us, and the book, it's the only thing keeping us alive." The woman's gaze softened slightly. "The book chose you," she said. "That much is clear. But its power comes with a cost. The more you use it, the more you attract the attention of those who seek to destroy the veil." Benjamin looked at her, desperation in his eyes. "Then help us. We don't know what we are doing, but we can't just run away. If we don't stop this, everyone we care about is in danger." The woman studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. But know this, the path ahead will not be easy. The shadows are only the beginning. There are forces at play far more dangerous than you can imagine." She raised her staff, and the barrier of light expanded, forcing the shadow creature to retreat. It let out a final, furious roar before disappearing into the darkness. The cemetery fell silent once more, the air heavy with the aftermath of the battle. "What happens now?" Samoa asked, his voice trembling. The woman looked at them, her expression grim. "Now, we prepare. The veil is weakening, and the enemy grows stronger with each passing day. If we are to stand a chance, you must learn to harness the power of the book and uncover the truth of why it chose you." Benjamin exchanged a glance with Samoa, both boys feeling the weight of her words. They had survived the night, but the fight was far from over. As the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, Benjamin looked down at the book in his hands. The symbols on its cover glowed faintly, a reminder of the immense responsibility now resting on their shoulders. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "It's just the beginning." As the golden light faded and the Guardian's barrier dissolved, the cemetery once again fell into a tense stillness. Benjamin, Samoa, and the Guardian stood together amidst the rubble and chaos, their breaths heavy but steady. "First lesson," the Guardian said, turning to Benjamin. "The book is not just a tool. It's a connection to something far greater than you understand. You must not only use it but also learn to listen to it. Its power is ancient, and it does not tolerate recklessness." Benjamin hesitated, looking down at the book. The glowing symbols seemed alive, almost pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. "How do I do that?" he asked. "I don't even know why he chose me." The Guardian studied him for a moment, her piercing green eyes searching his face. "The book never chooses lightly," she said. "It saw something in you, something even you might not fully understand yet. But the time for discovery is short. The enemy is already moving." "Who are they?" Samoa asked, stepping closer. "Who's behind all this? And what do they want with the veil?" The Guardian's expression darkened. "The veil separates our world from the shadow realm, a place of chaos, despair, and unbridled power. There are those who see the veil not as a barrier but as a cage. They wish to tear it down, to merge the realms and claim the power of both." Benjamin clenched his fist. "And the shadows? The creatures we've been fighting? They are scouts," the Guardian explained. "Probes sent to test the strength of the veil, and to find cracks where they can slip through. The key you now hold is more than a symbol. It is a fragment of the veil's foundation. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could tip the balance." Samoa swallowed hard, his face pale. "So, what do we do? We are just two kids living in a cemetery. How are we supposed to stop something like this?" The Guardian smiled faintly, though it didn't reach her eyes. "You won't be alone," she said. "There are others who fight to protect the veil. I will take you to them. But first, you must prove yourselves worthy of their trust." Benjamin frowned. "How?" The book will guide you, the guardian said. She raised her staff, and a small, golden orb of light appeared, hovering between them. It floated down to the book, merging with its cover. The glowing symbols shifted, forming a map on the pages. Benjamin and Samuel leaned in, studying the map. It showed the cemetery and its surroundings, but the edges extended far beyond anything they recognized. There were markings, symbols and locations that seemed to pulse with energy. The path ahead will not be easy, the guardian warned. The first step is to find the other fragments of the veil. They are scattered, hidden, and protected by powerful forces. Each fragment you recover will strengthen the veil and bring you closer to understanding the book's true purpose. The journey began at dawn. The guardian led them through the outskirts of the cemetery and into the dense forest beyond. The air was thick with tension, every rustle of leaves and snap of twigs putting them on edge. As they walked, Samuel couldn't help but glance at the guardian. You said others are fighting to protect the veil. Why haven't we heard of them before? Why doesn't anyone else know about this? The guardian's expression remained unreadable. Because the fight is not meant for everyone, she said. The fewer who know, the less power the enemy can wield through fear and manipulation. But those who are called, like you, bear the weight of that knowledge. It is both a gift and a burden. Benjamin tightened his grip on the book. So, we are supposed to just trust that this is the right thing to do. That we are not walking into something we can't handle. The guardian stopped and turned to face him. Doubt is natural, she said. But courage is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to act in spite of it. You've already faced the shadows and survived. That's more than most could say. Benjamin nodded, though the weight of her words settled heavily on his shoulders. By nightfall, they reached the edge of a desolate clearing. At its center stood an ancient, crumbling tower, its stones covered in moss and strange, glowing runes. The air around it buzzed with energy, sending chills down their spines. The first fragment is here, the guardian said. But beware. This place has been corrupted. The shadows know you're coming. Benjamin and Samuel exchanged uneasy glances. What do we do? Samuel asked. You will face trials, the guardian said. Each one designed to test your resolve, your strength, and your bond. The book will guide you, but you must rely on each other as well. I cannot interfere. Benjamin took a deep breath and opened the book. The map shifted, highlighting a path that led to the tower's entrance. Let's do this, he said, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. The two boys stepped forward, the guardian watching silently as they approached the tower. As they crossed the threshold, the air grew colder, and the darkness seemed to close in around them. Inside, the walls were lined with strange carvings that seemed to move and shift in the flickering light of their makeshift torches. The floor beneath them felt uneven, as if the tower itself was alive. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them, and a deep, guttural growl echoed through the chamber. Shadows began to pull in the corners, coalescing into a massive, hulking figure with glowing red eyes. Another one of those things, Samuel muttered, gripping a nearby broken piece of wood like a weapon. But this shadow was different, larger, more menacing, and radiating an aura of pure malice. It let out a roar, shaking the tower to its foundation. Benjamin flipped through the book, searching for anything that might help. There's a spell, he said, his voice shaking. But it's not complete. I think we have to work together to finish it. Samuel nodded, his grip tightening. Tell me what to do. As the shadow advanced, Benjamin and Samuel stood their ground, the book glowing brighter in Benjamin's hands. The tower seemed to come alive around them, the carvings on the walls whispering secrets and warnings. And then, just as the shadow launched, the book symbols flared with a blinding light, filling the chamber with an otherworldly energy. To be continued.